Did I ever tell you about the time that I found out where my cousin, one of those triplets, was going to camp in the summer?
No, tell me.
This was at the time when I stayed with my aunt and uncle and triplets cousin and the one older, so four cousins plus me,
Mhm.
and found out that I'm the favorite son of all of them.
Of all the cousins?
Yes, their dad and I got along so well. We built a rock wall in the backyard. Two of the triplets are boys and they just want to play video games. The oldest son, computer stuff and trombone. The youngest daughter, like theater and music. And none of them ever want to like engage in any physical task. So I built a rock wall in the backyard with my uncle and man did he appreciate it.
Wow.
And it was almost awkward to stay there because it felt like I was being paraded and in front of my cousins. Like, this is what
A
you should
proper
be
child looks like.
doing. Basically, yes, because I did chores without complaining and did physical labor in the backyard. But one of the reasons that one of my two male triplet cousins could not help us with the rock wall is because he was at 8 hours a day engineering camp,
Wow.
which was Lego camp.
Whoa.
Engineering.
Yep, it was explained to me as engineering camp, and I later found out that he was at a Lego camp, and his mom pitched it as engineering.
Wow.
Well, when you don't want your son to sound like a loser, you tell people he's in an engineering camp.
I
He's not
appreciate
playing
my
with Legos.
cousins. They are interesting and fun individuals in doses, but Steve, have you been to any family gatherings that had those cousins? I think you've been to at least one. Maybe my graduation party or Carter's.
Yeah.
I think Carter's. Yeah, the oldest cousin is like a PhD biology candidate at UConn, and the others are doing well and have real jobs, I think, but they're not the most socially adept people I've ever met.
Dude, you talking about doing hard labor? Oh my god, I hate I would do that stuff with or for my dad. Like my dad made a garden in the front yard, but that means that we need to get all these big rocks and put them around and dig up the ground and mulch it ourselves and also then delicately plant all of the flowers. It was the whole range of the maintenance in terms of I don't know, big tough guy stuff and more dainty stuff. And dude, I hated it so much. That and we would rake leaves and or blow the leaves if we were lucky. We'd get the leaf blower and that was kind of sick. Or the worst though, the worst. And somehow over the past few years now, I've avoided this, was shoveling the driveway. Shoveling is soul crushing work and I hate it. And I'm so lucky in that these past few winters, I've ducked and dodged every blizzard.
I just want to let you know you had 16 likes in that story.
What do you mean?
Filler, like.
Oh, wow. You
Same,
actually
like.
counted?
I made a point of it because I noticed myself doing it badly last episode.
Oh, I do it
edited.
badly every episode.
But I wanted to count this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind the hard labor. We had a 300-foot driveway at the house I lived at in Connecticut, and my first year there, we moved up in August, I want to say, and it was the year that we were freshmen in high school. So if you remember, 3 blizzards, something like that.
Oh, God.
We had
that's
snow
so
in
long ago.
October. We had 300 feet of driveway that was, at some points, 18 or 24 inches high with snow. So we would go out in shifts during snowstorms, me, Carter, and my stepdad, and we would shovel it. And after that first winter, we bought a 4-wheeler with a plow. Because,
Hell yeah.
it is soul-crushing work.
Dude, my dad's always ever had a plow for his truck, or he's always just ever had buddies that'll come by and just plow the truck.
Oh, that's
thank
so
thank
nice.
God, but dude, I've had
That's
plenty
a
of
move.
the shoveling. I've had to shovel the driveway a couple of times, but porch is what I usually have to do. Porch is blow like any kind of shoveling just blows.
Shoveling's not super
it's
fun.
back breaking, bro.
I will say, though, shoveling was, and I don't remember if this was middle school or high school, but that was one of my first ever money-making schemes. Me and a buddy of mine would go out, knock on strangers' doors, and ask to shovel their sidewalks and driveways for money.
Mine was an actual lawn care business. Mine was full on cut your grass, do your leaves, anything like that.
Damn.
Me and my buddy in 7th grade.
That's
Nick-
not a bad way to spend like a Saturday afternoon.
Dude,
or
we made,
Saturday
like-
morning.
We made like $1,000 over the summer each.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not bad.
we had a really solid yard that would pay us like I think it was like $120 each time we did it, and we did it like on a weekly basis, or at least every 2 weeks. So
Jeez,
That's
man.
not bad. We
made
did
good money.
after the hurricane we had in high school, we did lawn cleanup for everyone, down trees and branches and everything. Neighborhood kids and I, maybe 5 or 6 of us, and we each ended up with like $80, so not bad. I bought Deus Ex Human Revolution, got stuck auto-saved at a point where I had too low health and ammo that I could not escape, did not want to revert to the whole chapter, and actually turned it in at GameStop, which is, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. So it sounds like cleaning up people's houses after a hurricane was not worth it for you.
It was helpful for the community, and I appreciate those character building lessons, but the game was a disappointment in that regard.
I will say, though, one thing that was super triumphant about shoveling was we did it for a year or two, and then one year we were in my friend's neighborhood, and his dad let us use their snowblower. And so obviously our efficiency goes up, but his dad gave us a little tip that we used at every house. And at every house, before we walked up to the door, we would leave the snowblower at like the end of the driveway or behind a bush or something, and we would both walk up with shovels.
So they pay you more?
And so that it seemed like just these like 2 kids like really like doing their best, working hard. And then after they'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll like pay you like X amount of dollars, whatever it was. And then we would just go out. I would shovel the front walk, and my friend would just snowblow the whole driveway in a matter of minutes. Like a couple minutes. Like I remember one time I was like halfway done with the driveway, and I just hear Steve, and I look up, and it is just my friend in front of a completely bare driveway with his fists in the air in triumph. It was like, we're gonna make so much fucking money today, Nick. You don't even know.
By the way, we have a repeat guest today,
Oh,
Pat
true.
Dropout,
How
for
we
his
doing?
rap name. We like to introduce them late in the show.
Yeah,
that way
of
we know you're
course.
really fans. You're
Yeah.
here for us, not just our guests.
Oh.
You didn't tune in just for the music aspect.
Also, we forget sometimes, so we introduce later.
So Pat, in an attempt to stay topical, how's this quarantine treating you?
Do you have toilet paper banked up?
Dude, plenty of toilet paper, plenty of food, and like I honestly live right by the grocery store, which is like an essential grocery store and liquor store, which is an essential business. So I've stayed stocked up this whole quarantine. Weed is what I'm running out of. That's hard to find.
Oh no.
That's like the most important thing to stay sane in quarantine. I think I've been high for like almost every hour I've been awake. in quarantine.
You gotta love living in Mass. It's fine for you to just say that. Isn't it great? Welcome to the future, boys.
What else are you gonna do when like you can't really leave your house and there's just a bunch of video games to be played? You can only clean up and do so many dishes.
Home
before
workouts, baby.
Home workouts. There you
Yeah, that's not a whole day though.
I did that on Sunday. I worked out for 6 hours on and off with like TV and cooking.
Yeah, on and off with other things.
It made it a day's activity.
Fair enough.
And it was a pretty great day, I have to say. I definitely enjoyed it. Time from home is not bad. I can Netflix while I work from home. Luckily, my job's entirely work from home, so I still don't lose any income. But, man, times could be real rough out there for a lot of people. If my work just extended work from home until April 24th, that's 6 weeks. Imagine 6 weeks of no income if you live by that income.
Yeah, Jesus.
exactly.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Dude, I work in a retail store right now, and when I got the word that it's like, oh, you're
Is
not
it
gonna
just-
be working again for a bit, I like was fine for it at first. I'm just like, oh, like no work, like it's gonna be fun. But then you start going down on money because you start spending it on food and everything else you need, and it's just like, holy crap, like working actually is pretty important, and I do miss it. But like, like what was it? It was a record high last week. 3 million people signed up for unemployment.
3.5,
Yeah.
3.3, 3.5, something like that.
I think the closest it's ever gotten to that was like 600,000 or like 900,000, something like that.
It was, I think, 695 in 1981.
There you go.
This is the most people that have been unemployed, I think, reported since 1931 or something. The stocks rebounded the best they have since 31. Something like that. We're competing with the Great Depression, which is not
Yeah,
where you want to
basically.
be.
Dude, isn't it gonna be cool in the future though to tell people that we like
survive this
Yeah,
actual
we-
event.
Like, to, like,
this
tell
actually
stories
is
about
a
the
this
quarantine.
is a history event.
That's why this podcast is so important. This is an audio journal of
They're
what
going to be
life
doing
was like.
DBQs about the about the Couple of Fellas podcast. History teachers.
I gotta ask
in
you what
2070.
DBQ is.
You don't know? Oh, a DBQ. Like back in my high school, we used to do things called DBQs. Forget what the fucking stands for. Honestly.
In like a push.
Yeah. Where like you would get a
Ooh.
document and you'd have to analyze it and write this whole like paragraph and stuff on it.
Yeah,
You
dude.
analyze. And DBQ stands for something to like how you're doing.
Data.
It. Like
Something questions.
yeah.
Quiz? Daily? I don't know. This is definitely the transcript they're going to be studying in high schools. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
There's no better reflection of our time. We are all poets.
What interests me is what are the ramifications after this passes? Like, are a lot of businesses out there now realizing, like, wow, we don't need to rent office space. Work from home is a completely viable option. For
It might
many
change the
people.
landscape
honestly.
of corporate culture for sure.
Exactly. And, like, what does that do to us socially if, like, so many more jobs become work from home and you're not, like, forced to see people every day?
The best I
Does
get
that
is
change?
Skype.
Does that change like salaries too? Like it's gonna change. it would
Yeah, the
change a
fact
bunch
that
of
they don't
shit.
have to, like, compensate you for coming to work. I know several people at my job who commute over an hour every day.
That's a lot of commute.
You know, and it's like that's
adds
kind of
up on
factored into
gas.
into their salary.
That's super fair.
Like the
I
fact
wonder.
that people have to live like that.
Mm.
Now they won't.
Sounds like a lot of people are calling for some semi-socialism cures to this issue, though. So I'm curious if that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sanders is
It's gonna
now too
affect
far
the
behind.
election.
But I'm curious how that will play in policy-wise.
We talked about it last time, dude, but that just makes me so upset that Joe Biden is the Democratic nominee.
Have you seen some of these speeches, Pat?
Crook.
This man is dying on his feet.
Dude,
And
he
they're
has
like,
no clue what he's talking. Like he's literally like, there's a reason Trump calls him Sleepy Joe. Like he has zero clue what he's talking
he
about.
looks
half
like
the
he's
time.
having a stroke mid-sentence.
Dude, like that guy is not fit to be president.
Just physically fit, even. Like, maybe he would be competent at the job if he had all his faculties about him, but I genuinely worry. Steve was joking and called it elder abuse on the last podcast we talked about this, but it really is. Like, I would feel bad putting my grandma, who's in a similar physical situation as Biden, in front of these podiums right now.
I think you have to keep Trump in office right now just because of the economical aspect of it. Like he blew our economy up,
It was
but like
booming.
yeah, there's we're gonna need that when this shit gets done with because we've got like the lowest stock market margins in like years and it's like, everything's going to shit. Like you never know what's gonna happen afterwards. We're gonna need someone that's not Joe Biden in office. Like
I
when
have a
this shit
feeling
comes
that
out.
if Biden is the nominee, then Trump has already won, and it's not worth
Yeah.
talking about any farther.
What makes me so disappointed
In
is
the
that-
DNC or what?
So I'm a pretty moderate guy, but I would say I identify more as a Democrat than as a Republican. And what saddens me so much is that, like, Hillary lost, Trump wins. Okay, whatever. Like, I was not a big fan of Hillary, but I really thought that this was going to be the wake-up call that the Democratic Party needed. I remember thinking, like, I don't like that Trump won, but this is for the best for the Democratic Party, because now they realize they can't just be throwing up whoever they want up there. Like, whoever is just going to support them through everything. And so we get all these, like, interesting candidates, like people who are just not establishment Democrats.
Tulsi
And
Gabbard, Andrew Yang, Bernie, of course.
yeah, exactly. Like, to be fair, we had 20 of them. It was a fucking mess. But we had this, like, uprising, and even in, like, the Senate and the House and, like, all over. And it was like, wow, this is the time that the established Democratic Party falls and these Justice Democrats rise up. And then what it looks like now is that Biden's going to be put up, and it is just the establishment again, and no one learned their lesson. And it's like, God damn it, I hope they get it right the next time, but we'll see.
I'm the opposite of you, where I lean a little bit more Republican.
Yeah,
like
fair
even
enough.
though I don't like I hate picking a side because I'm just like, dude, like it's good of either one.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'd rather just not pick a side.
But you
I'd
gotta lean
I would
one.
rather have somebody
You do have
that
to
cares
pick
more
one.
for citizens than established like corporate political PACs. That would be cool. But other than that, yeah, fair enough.
But
I
like,
could waffle.
I was also in the same boat of thinking like, dude, I think the Democrats are probably going to come out hard against Trump this year,
And they
then,
did- they
boom,
tried.
They
Too many of them
completely
tried.
shit the bed.
Ugh.
They should have focused on less candidates and better
Well,
ones.
that's the
I don't
thing, is
think you
that
can
anyone
stop the
can run,
candidates,
yeah.
but they probably shouldn't have cherry-picked their candidate from among it. There was a court ruling. I think somebody sued up to whatever level, and the DNC flat out stated that they are a corporation and that they are not liable or obligated in any way to reflect the American public's view
Yeah.
in their choice of candidate that they endorse.
And they're right, they're not.
They aren't, technically, legally.
Doesn't
But-
make it right.
It's kind of silly that we that clearly, not even shadow puppeteers, like it's that clear. We have corporations that decide who the two people are that you can pick between. And that's kind of mind-blowing. It's not like, oh, the politicians are taking corporate money. It's no. They are a corporation, and then they put forth one of two candidates.
Yep.
And those are the only people who have won for what? How long since a third-party candidate even had close? Like Teddy Roosevelt?
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe
And that
ever.
just fucked everything up.
Maybe ever. Like, if you don't have one of those endorsements from an self-admitted corporation, you don't win the presidency. That's how it goes. As an independent, as a Green Party, Liberal Party, third party, whatever, you will not win unless you have one of the two endorsements from a corporation. And that's not shadows at all. Like, that's just a corporation chooses the president.
Ugh.
And it's crazy because it doesn't seem to wake as many people up as you would expect. Reddit gets outraged, but doesn't win votes. Although the boomer doomer virus might shift
Dude,
the overall population.
It's in the Senate, man. COVID is in the Senate.
Boris Johnson,
I love how
Prime
that
Minister
guy,
of the UK,
like,
got it.
denied the bill for the Senate, and he was the first one to get COVID-19.
It's
It's
like
like
whatever.
that's what you deserve.
That's like whatever
poetic.
NBA player that was like, ha ha ha, social distancing, and then he was the first
Yep,
confirmed.
exactly.
After touching all the microphones
Like, dude, it's almost like you're like
on
asking for
purpose. He's like, yeah, no, I ain't got it. And then he just like he walks away from the stand, walks back, touches every microphone with his hand, and then leaves. And then later on gets confirmed to have coronavirus.
it. Like, you were just asking for it.
That's pretty wild.
That's just playing with fate.
You want to hear semi-related in the terms of like, haha, weird karma to a person you
No,
wouldn't
I
expect?
don't. Pat, you got anything? No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
Well, I'm going to tell it. So, a doctor at UConn Health, who I saw several times for sports-related injuries throughout my undergrad career, and who repaired my shoulder, like actually did surgery on me. Confidence-inducing guy, definitely liked him, trusted him enough to cut me open. Also, the guy that I recommended to my dad when my dad had his knee repaired entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So he has done orthopedic surgery on myself and my father. He got arrested yesterday at the UConn Health Center for, anyone want to tender a guess?
Dealing drugs.
Dealing drugs from Pat? Steve, any idea what the orthopedic surgeon who fixed my shoulder got arrested for?
Oh, I was thinking, when you said orthopedic, I was thinking foot, and that he had some weird foot fetish he was using in the hospital. But orthopedic surgeon, was he performing surgery in the parking lot?
Nope, he had a paying job at UConn.
Okay.
Intentionally coughing on two coworkers.
Yeah, what?
He got arrested for, I think it was breach of peace, for intentionally coughing on two other
Like,
people.
I assume this was as a joke, and he's not this malicious supervillain.
It's either as a joke or just like doctor nurse cocky relationship, and they're like, stay away, watch the social distancing, and he's like, haha. I guess.
How
Still a
much
joke.
time did he get? Did he
I
get a
don't know.
sentence?
He got arrested yesterday. I'll pay attention to
Wow.
this story, but my dad texted me and was like, hey, Dr. Blank got arrested for coughing on people. I'm like, bullshit. Google it, sure enough, right there, several news stories.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous what's going around right now.
He sounds like House. Like, yeah, he's a sick surgeon who can fix any wound, but also he doesn't play by the rules.
He's not quite that charismatic, but I liked him. I probably would have laughed at whatever he was doing that got him arrested.
I really like the cut of that guy's jib. I'll let him do surgery on me.
That actually makes a huge difference. The guy who fused my back was so confidence inspiring, so charismatic. He had such a great bedside manner that I was like, I'd be honored to have you slice me up. Like, please, do I need this surgery? I don't care. Sign me up.
Sign me up for another surgery.
This dude, yeah, that dude was excellent. And as far as I know, he hasn't been arrested yet, but I'll pay attention. Who knows? So yeah, this shit has echoed far. Have any of you thought of any would you rather since the last time we had Pat on as a guest?
Oh Christ, that was minutes ago.
I mean, weeks ago. This pandemic quarantine's been really going for a while, huh?
Yeah,
This is in May.
Yeah. Hopefully we can actually post this in May so it's topical.
That would actually be hilarious.
This is us coming to you from the future. We're still in quarantine.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still here in March.
Yeah, buckle up and buy toilet paper.
But we know when we're posting this. We know
Like-
what's happening in the future.
Like a Terminator movie. Let's just title this one May 26th,
We actually-
2020.
We're actually writers of The Simpsons, and we know everything.
The government has a special deal with us in the writer's room. They don't want us to tell you about it, but... Oh no, I got Epstein.
Oh God.
Accidentally suicided by 3 gunshots to the back of the head.
Dude, some of that shit, some of the stuff the CIA does is tapped. Did you hear about the, JFK?
Which
during
one?
his presidency.
That they wanted
No,
to
not
nuke,
that-
that they
no.
wanted to attack a bunch of American
Yes!
cities? Yes.
Yes, they
I
wanted to
didn't hear
attack.
about this.
Dude, they wanted to attack American cities as Cubans so that we could be justified to invade Cuba and overthrow.
And that
their-
included hijackings and crashings of passenger airlines, bombings of major U.S. cities. This passed all the Joint Chiefs of Staff and ended up
And
on
it-
Kennedy's desk
Yep,
when he
and
was like, what
he
the
denied
fuck? No.
Kennedy was the last one.
Operation...
to see it.
Oh, what was this?
Damn. And so did he just like see through it?
No, well, I mean, it's not through it. It was their legitimate
canceled it,
plan.
yeah.
But he
Or
was
was
like,
he just like, no, like
We're
this
not-
is not
this
worth
is-
a nuke?
we're not going to
No.
sacrifice American lives
But
so
that
we
makes
can go to
you
war.
think 9/11's a little bit more
Yeah,
realistic.
that the
now,
government
doesn't
is capable of something
it?
like
Of something like
that.
that.
Oh, for sure
of
they
coming
have.
up with that shit.
Don't forget, we have for sure participated in all sorts of torture programs and horrible shit. We just don't publicize it. Victor gets to write history, and we've won enough of the wars that most of our war crimes are probably hidden up.
Project MK Ultra.
Ooh,
So
that's a
what-
fun one.
Look
Which cities were getting bombed?
I don't know what the
probably
specific
major,
plans were,
major
but
stuff. I doubt they would use nukes, but I'm sure
No.
they would use.
Oh, definitely not.
But
I'm
I
sure
think
they
it
would
was,
use some
if they're
crazy
bombing
stuff
their
to make
own
it
cities,
seem
they're
like-
not going to nuke themselves.
it was going to be terrorist attacks on the U.S. blamed on Cuban insurgents.
Wow. And how is this?
And it was
public
just going to
record?
justify. They released
Got
it
declassified
Yeah,
long
it's
Oh,
ago
I
later.
guess so.
probably recently too.
Wow.
Maybe in the last 5 or 10 years. But there was all sorts of crazy stuff. MK Ultra, nuts, just psychedelic dosing people out of their fucking brains. Many of
Dude,
whom
people that didn't know either.
never
Like they would
returned
be
to normal.
they would be brought to like they would get like some injury, like they would get wounded in battle, and they'd be brought to a hospital. And I read I don't know how credible the story is, but the guy like literally said he goes, dude, they were injected like the IV had orange liquid in it. He goes, it didn't look like a normal IV. And I just remember hallucinating for 3 days straight.
Jesus.
And I was like,
Oh,
that's
people got
fucking
permanently
nuts.
messed up
Yeah,
from MK
like-
Ultra.
I learned this in Stranger Things.
Yeah, similar stuff to that, but a little less. I don't know.
A little less
psychic
like it worked.
action. Exactly.
Dude, if you want some crazy theories,
Fucked a bunch
you
of
just gotta
people
roll
up.
up on Reddit.
It was like how the Nazi regime was doing all sorts of horrible, and the Japanese imperial, all the losers that we know of, it got published. The
Yeah.
horrible shit that they were doing.
So why wouldn't we?
Because we won, so we don't have to tell the world our
Exactly.
dirty secrets.
Jeez.
What else? The CIA spent $30 million training a cat and implanting sensors and stuff to be a spy, and on its first mission deployment, it got run over by a car like 14 seconds in. Incredible.
The NASA pen shit is hilarious. Of developing a ballpoint pen to work in space.
Oh yeah, the U.S. spent like $3.5 million developing a ballpoint pen that could work in space.
I've heard that.
The Russians
before.
used a pencil.
That one's a funny. That one's
Yeah.
just a funny punch.
But-
too.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
actually heard the counterpoint. Wait,
It does. It
there's
does
something
make
with
sense,
graphite,
yeah.
like particles in space or something, that if you're breathing in graphite, it's a carcinogen. So there was like a legitimate reason to not be dependent on pencils.
Well, back in the day, it was lead pencils.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That
for
was probably
sure,
even
that was
worse.
one thing.
So yeah, so they'd be breathing in lead. Yeah, it's definitely not good for you.
So that was like, oh, okay, actually, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
For
what
sure.
other fun ones? There's Operation Northwoods. Wait,
Explain.
Operation Northwoods is the one where they were going to bomb a ton of U.S. stuff.
Is that what's that?
Operation Paperclip, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Operation Paperclip is where we brought over like estimates of between 2 and 4 or 14,000 Nazi scientists after World War II, many of whom worked on like energy projects, Department of Defense stuff. Like,
Yeah.
we sponsored and just brought over, wiped away their war crimes if they would work as scientists for the U.S.
Wow.
That's fucked.
There's a crazy paper trail now of stuff that has been
So
declassified.
it is fucked. But here's the thing. I basically work for the military. I don't agree with everything the military does. Like, these guys, they were looking for a job.
Wait, do you mean when they were Nazi scientists,
Yeah.
they wanted to be scientists and they lived in Nazi Germany?
Yeah.
For sure. Only 7%, I think, at the height of the population was an active member of the National Socialist, whatever, the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
My great-grandpa was a soldier in the German military in World War II. Died on the Russian front, didn't do any crazy gas chamber stuff, so no worries there. But yeah, he was not a Nazi. My grandma, who immigrated from Germany when she was 14, was not a Nazi, but she has stories of like hearing the sirens and going into bomb shelters.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of people weren't Nazis, but you were employed by the government or the military,
Yeah.
and you did what you had to do. You think they
Yeah.
were telling people like, "Hey, good news, guys! We just cracked our first million."
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, too, is like...
They didn't get YouTube plaques for how many people they gassed.
You think about Nazi Germany, and it's very easy to just picture Nazi Germany as this evil force, which, granted, they were doing a lot of evil things, but it's not just like this country was filled with a bunch of evil people all at once that just simultaneously agreed to, like,
Yes.
do the
Fuck
most
shit up.
horrendous thing that history's ever seen.
It was compartmentalized.
It
evil.
it's a slow grind of regular people.
That Hitler just corrupted.
If you can turn the direction of the machine, the individual cogs don't know where they're going.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, these Nazi scientists, like, yeah, it's definitely weird, but, like, can you really charge these guys with war crimes? It seems extreme.
You gotta
Some
pick
of
the
them
right
definitely
ones.
weren't
The scientists that were like doing the twins experiments, like,
Mendeley,
that kind of shit. Yeah, like,
Gregor
those guys.
Mendeley, because Gregor Mendel and Mendeleev are both important figures in science. I think it's Mendeley is the evil Nazi one, right in the middle of the two. Mendeleev came up with a periodic table idea right around the same time as Charles Darwin. Or no, that's chemistry. Right around the guy who got famous for making the periodic table, Mendeleev.
Niels Bohr.
I think it was Mendeleev. And then Gregor Mendel did all of the pea breeding experiments. He's why we have Punnett squares and gene trait stuff.
Oh, he was doing eugenics.
But with pea plants. I guess it's just that name.
People.
It's something Mendeley, I think, was the evil scientist's head guy name, but do fact check me, whatever, but don't hold me accountable for what I say. We're a little bit tipsy. This is our second quarantine cast of the evening.
Guy was literally torturing siblings to see if their twins would feel it too.
But if you want to argue utilitarian side of things, a massive percent, a couple years ago I saw the number 90%, but since then we've come a long way, and I don't know if that's accurate, but a massive percent of what we know about like the human brain and physiology is because of those horrible Nazi experiments.
Dude, I
Crazy.
know. There's some crazy science that you can get from that stuff.
If you want to read real horrible stuff, Japan had a unit like Unit 667 or whatever the frick it is, 173, I don't know. But they did really atrocious experiments. Like, the Nazi stuff is 70 or 80% as horrible as some of the things that the Japanese did.
Dude, it's tapped because it's like, dude, if you really want to figure out humans, like, you have to use humans in experiments.
Really
like,
push the
Stanford
experimental
Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah.
Bro.
Ooh,
Like,
that's a
that
fun
shit
one.
fucked people up. Like, can you if you haven't seen the movie on it, go watch the movie because the movie's tapped.
You can
I'm
never
like-
run that today.
Dude, like, never. That
For
would
sure
never
not.
be allowed. Like, the way that shit went down, like, was nuts. Like,
I've heard there was since to some degree, debunking of their scientific method and what influence they had on the participants, but I think it still proves the point that, like, people given power and given orders in bad scenarios will do bad stuff.
oh yeah.
And of course you will. Not to bring it back to Kingdom, the Netflix zombie anime, not anime, the Netflix zombie Korean, I guess associate them, show that I was watching. There are people who very clearly are like, I don't want to do this, capture whoever, behead whoever, tie up whoever, but are like, well, divine mandate ruler says
It's
I
either-
have to.
yeah,
What
it's
the
either-
fuck am I going to do?
It's either I cut off this guy's head or I get my head cut off. Like,
Exactly.
That's what it
And I
is
think
right
that's
now.
a huge diffusion. There are very few people at the top of the Nazi war machine that are knowing enough to be aware of what they're doing. Most of them were so deep so balls deep in and propagandized that I'm sure they believed in the whole inferior genes shit. But I think it was relatively few people that probably directed the majority.
Dude, so one of the experiments that I heard about in that was, you know how when you break your bone, it grows back stronger? Or is
In
a
that
myth?
spot.
Yes,
Yeah,
in
'cause
that
it
spot,
calluses
exactly, in
over.
that spot.
It'll be
so one
extra
of the,
ossified.
Yeah, exactly. So in one of the Nazi experiments, they would take this boy and they would repeatedly break his legs and then let them heal, just to see the upper limits of how hard that like knee bone could be.
That's so fucking horrible.
I know, right? But like at the same time, you're like, how hard could it be?
You're kind of curious.
Like I'd love
The hardest
to know.
bone in your body. How hard could we actually make that?
Exactly. Like, could you turn into Wolverine?
Probably
these,
not
like,
with
nearly
retractable.
unbreakable. Not with the claws, but like just these like nearly unbreakable skeleton.
I'm not gonna lie, if Wolverine might be my favorite superhero.
Wolverine is absolutely my favorite superhero.
I think he's a fucking animal.
Dude.
Like, just straight badass. Like, Batman's cool, Superman's cool. Like, all the Marvel characters, like Tony Stark, great fucking character, Iron Man. But, like, Wolverine is a fucking animal. Like, the shit that he does. If you've ever seen, like Logan is an incredible movie, dude.
Logan, absolutely.
Incredible.
Logan and The Dark Knight are the two best superhero movies, bar none.
By far.
Like, by so far.
In terms of actual quality movie, yes. If you want to measure sheer entertainment value, I think Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy give them a run for their money. But in terms of, like, it feels like it matters or you care about it, yeah.
I would actually put, like, dude, I liked the new Joker over the Dark Knight, honestly.
Ooh.
Like, you can't, obviously, like,
I put them
you
in a
can
different
compare,
category.
yeah, like, that's what everybody says. They're like, dude, you can't compare the two.
It's
like,
not a
it's
super
like, yeah,
movie.
it's like, yeah, you can.
It's a
but you
character
can't.
drama.
Yeah,
it's not a superhero movie.
Like, there's two different, like Dark Knight is supposed to be about Batman. It's not supposed to be about the Joker. Like, but
Although
Ledger
he stole the show.
stole the show, bro. Like, absolutely stole. Like, and I get, dude. And obviously, like, when I was arguing with my friends about this shit, like, what was better, the Heath Ledger Joker or Joaquin Phoenix? I told everybody, I go, listen, you guys need to get that whole, like, that was his last role. He died. Like,
that shouldn't impact
legacy.
your quality evaluation.
You guys are letting that get to your head, like, that was, like, dude, his last role, like, incredible, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you guys got to get deep down into the acting of it, of, like, dude, could Heath Ledger have done what Joaquin Phoenix did in that? And I was like, and Joaquin Phoenix proved that he could be a little bit of Heath Ledger when he danced up to the TV after killing Maury.
But
Spoilers,
they
by the
aimed
way.
for different things.
So here's the thing, is that I think Joaquin Phoenix was given the opportunity to provide a much greater range of character because the movie was about him. As a Joker, I think Heath Ledger was the better Joker specifically. Like,
how that character is supposed to be portrayed.
Dude, everything is just his micro expressions in every word that he spoke was so, I don't.
That's how you see the Joker's voice. Like, if you were describing the Joker to someone, you wouldn't, and like you were trying to like portray that part, I'll admit it, you wouldn't do Joaquin's Joker. You would try to do Heath Ledger's Joker, because when you hear that voice, you know that's the Joker.
Why so serious?
I think that Joaquin Phoenix played a better
character?
Naive, insane man. Like, he towed that line of like naive yet criminally and violently insane so masterfully. But I think that there's more to a Joker than that aspect, and I think that Heath Ledger just absolutely nailed it in The Dark Knight.
Dude, honestly,
and that's why, like,
he's my top villain of all time.
Yeah.
Not just Batman.
movie. Joker is probably like one of my favorite characters of all time.
That specific
let
movie
alone
villain is the best.
He's an incredible villain.
He really is.
Dude, if Joaquin didn't win that Oscar, I was about to pull a whole Joker fucking thing on the city of Boston. I was about to be pissed. Like, that might have been the most incredible. Like, one, I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I've been waiting for his Oscar forever. And when The Revenant won, I was so fucking pumped. It wasn't
100%.
because I remember like watching. I had that on Blu-ray.
He's a
everything,
vegetarian,
like,
and he ate a raw liver.
That was insane.
So I
like,
guess
that
he's not a
performance was
vegetarian.
crazy. But Joaquin blew that Oscar performance out of the water.
You think so?
Ooh, I don't
think-
know.
I think that was just I like the things. I remember like in the theater watching him dance when he first killed those 3 people, and I was just like, that is him turning into the Joker right there. Like that moment of like him kind of like slowly
Reveling in the
balleting to the violins. You were just like, that is him. Like he's now like the Joker. Like
You know
he just
what?
kind of turned like, I don't know. Some of it was just incredible to see.
In the comparison to The Revenant, I'll agree. I think that overall, The Revenant is a better movie than Joker, but I will agree with you that Joaquin had a better performance than Leonardo DiCaprio did. I think that Leonardo DiCaprio's performance was great, but it was very like silent. And I don't know, just that aspect.
It was that style of the movie, you know.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't get a lot of like
better. Spoken act. Like we didn't get to see like so much like character development as much. It was more just like, this is the story. This is what's happening, bro.
It was
like,
character revealing. Like,
exactly.
It shows you how far this guy would go without actually really developing him. He was kind of through the whole movie an honorable badass.
Like you don't like get attached to Glass, you know, like whatever his name. Hugh Glass, was it Hugh?
No idea.
I think that's
Something
the
like
movie
that.
Glass, which is also a great series. But
no, his last name is Glass.
Oh, you
bro.
might be right. Actually,
name was
the real
definitely
guy it was
Glass.
based on, at least, is.
And but like
You're right.
you don't get attached to you're like if this guy dies, this guy kind of dies, you know, like whatever. But like the Joker kind of made you feel for him.
Yeah.
You were like, dude, this guy's got it
on
rough.
his side.
You really were ready to put on a fucking clown mask and band around that car when he's dancing up there and takes the blood and makes that smile, which by the way, like gave me fucking chills to do. Like I would be in that, like you wanted to be in that crowd and be like, fuck yeah, like this is what this is about. Like and then they went into the whole like kind of like Inception shit, like, ooh, is this real? Like, oh, we're gonna put him in the mental hospital. Like, no, shut the fuck up. That was all.
I just choose to believe it was
I believe
real.
it was real.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it was real. And then it's in the future. Here he is in the mental hospital when they caught it. Obviously,
Arkham.
It's not like he got away. It's not like the Joker just got away
And the
after
Joker
doing
got
all
away.
that. Like, come on, dude. Like, he obviously got locked up, and then like he escapes. That's the whole Joker
walks away
thing.
with his bloody shoes.
Exactly. Like he killed that lady. We can all tell that.
All I have are negative thoughts.
God.
I love how it's a meme now too, like the "you wouldn't get it" meme. Like I love
get it?
that.
And we live in a
You
society, the two of those.
You wouldn't get it.
What a masterful piece of cinema.
Yeah.
Honestly,
For sure.
like my
If
favorite
nothing
movie
else.
to come out in the past like few years for sure.
It was good, but Steve and I were laughing as we went. We saw it together, and we were laughing as we went to see it. Like, can't do any sketchy shit. There was a police officer at the theater we went to. We were like,
Dude, when
they all think we're fucking jokers.
When I got out of that movie, I wanted to smoke a cigarette so fucking bad it wasn't even funny.
That is a cigarette
Dude,
movie,
like
man.
I was watching that like
They should have allowed
halfway
it in the
through.
theater.
I was fiending for one. I was like, dude, like I don't even smoke cigarettes that often. Like drunk, like every once in a while, I'll take one.
Or
if someone
watching the
offers it.
Joker.
But dude, after the Joker, my friend had a pack. Actually, I watched it with my friend Steve.
Oh,
which
no
is kinda
way.
funny. Yeah, literally. Honestly, God, I
The world's
watched it
full
with my
of
friend
Steves,
Steve.
but not all are as
And
great
he
as
had,
ours.
dude, he had some cigarettes with him, and we fucking ripped it right after the theater. And
Ripped
I
a
was-
bogey.
Dude, I think we had like 3 or 4 throughout that, like the rest of the night. Like we went back to his house, smoked a blunt, talked about. It was like literally it had to have been a 2-hour conversation about just the movie. Like I'm telling you, man, that movie is incredible. I would go buy that on Blu-ray, and you don't even buy fucking discs anymore. Like,
people
who the
don't,
fuck,
man.
dude? I would buy that, like just that. Oh,
Then
just
go
be like,
do it.
I would
Nut up.
like, dude,
Back
I might,
up your
dude,
claim.
I will. I'm gonna
Order it right now.
Let's
Live recorded on the
Live
podcast.
recorded, ordered on. Who orders shit on Blu-ray? I would go to Best Buy. Just get that shit.
My Steve worked at Best Buy.
I
I did used to work at Best Buy. Good times.
What a time that movie was.
Yeah.
Did the incels ever rise up?
Nope.
Well, so much for that.